All right, we are live, bass fishing live Thursday night, Eastern Outdoors, second show of this new series that we've had. If you are a long time, I say long time, but we've literally only existed like just over 2 years. But if you are a long time loyal follower, then you know our Tuesday show. We focus on hunting. We've been talking a lot about trapping, and we've started this Thursday show to focus on bass fishing. It's one of our biggest draws as far as content. It's really what Josh and I love. It was our first love when you come to the outdoors, and we're focusing a lot on tournament fishing. So with us tonight is I would say the star. I'm going to call him the star of both pro tours because he's the only one fishing both of them.
Yeah.
Keith Poche. Keith, do people mess your last name up a lot?
All the time. I can remember when I was in kindergarten, my teachers would like call me Posh, Pooch, Poochie,
Yeah.
Porsche. I've heard it all. So yeah, I'm kind of used to it. So whatever
And I
you
got
want
it
to call
right.
me.
Poche,
Yeah.
right? Yeah.
Yes,
So
sir.
I only know that because of the analyst on TV when I'm watching the tournament. So,
Yeah.
shout out to JT Kenny or whoever else I've learned it from. But Keith, we really appreciate you, man. I know you're busy. You're getting ready for this upcoming tournament, and so thanks so much for being here, man.
Yes, sir. Happy to be here.
So Josh and I, like I said, we started this show. We're waiting. If you're watching, we've got 18 people on right now. Here's what we want you to do. We want you to hit share this with your friends, tag your bass fishing buddies in here. We had a good show last week with Jackson Perry, who's an up and coming BFL fisherman. And then we're trying to vary this. We're trying to have local guys. We're trying to have, Jay Shakurit was on last year, like before he blew up. And after our show, he went on and won Rookie of the Year. So maybe we're good luck. I don't know. Maybe Keith can get a classic.
Yeah, I tell you, I'm just happy to be on part of the second show. I mean,
there you go.
I must rank pretty high in the standings.
Absolutely.
on being on your show. Yeah, it's pretty
Scott
good.
Butler's with us. What's up, Scott? How you doing, man?
Yeah. So if you're watching, just share this. We're going to get into, Keith's thoughts on the upcoming season. He's fishing the Bassmaster Classic, which is close to us. It's down there in Knoxville again this year. And then we'll get into, I really want to talk to this cool, the Gator Tracks boat. I want to know more about that. Aluminum boats. I feel like are kind of the hot topic or the new thing. People are really wanting those. So, but Keith, thanks so much. Why don't you just kind of tell us a little bit about your fishing career, a little bit about you as far as, like I said, the only angler fishing both the Bass Elite Series and the Bass Pro Tour with MLF. I don't know how you do it, but more power to you, brother.
Hey, but I don't know how I'm gonna do it either. But we're gonna find out. But yeah, I'm born and raised in Louisiana, and currently live in Alabama now. But been fishing on the pro as a pro for 14 years now, and it's been a fun ride. But I started out my career in Bassmaster, and a few years ago, MLF started those selects and cups, and I got involved with that, and it was a cool thing. And they invited me to come fish with them, and look at us now. The rest is history. We got our own tour, and things are going, and I'm just excited to be a part of the MLF league. And I'm always looking for new opportunities. And of course, I left Bass and pursued the MLF side, and I like to fish, and I end up fishing some opens and fishing all 9 this past year, and had a really good year, and requalified for the elite. So
yeah, that's great.
Hey, I'm gonna try to do both. I'm gonna pull a John Cox to see what happens.
There you go.
But, and there's a few stipulations on why I decided to do both. And the number one is I'm guaranteed 2 years on the elite series. There's some conflicts. There's going to be some times I'm gonna miss a day on an event, or I'm gonna have to miss a whole event because of the off limits period. But I have a little cushion. I can pretty much finish last in the points on the Elite Series and still have that opportunity to go back in 2024 and compete again and have a good year and keep my eligibility on that side. So, So yeah, I'm trying to play both sides. I want to keep my options open. I talk to all my sponsors, and they feel the same, that it's a good idea to get more exposure for me, myself, my brand, and for my
Yeah.
sponsors as well. But just to be out there more and fish more and try to provide for my family, and that's what it's all about. And the only time I'm making money really is when I'm fishing. So, but I got the support behind my family and my sponsors, so I feel like that it was a good opportunity to run with that this year, even though there's some adversity that I'm about to deal with. And but hey, I'm ready to go. I'm down here in Florida at one of my buddy's house, Mike. I'm sure you guys are looking at all the mounts.
Yeah.
He goes to Africa every year, so he's got a big collection of all kinds of stuff. But yeah, I'm down here in Florida. We got the first two events. It just so happened they both are pretty much right close to each other. The Toho and with Kissimmee Chain at Toho and Okeechobee. So I'm within driving distance, an hour and a half from each one.
There you go.
So yeah, I figured I'd start out right and just fish both of them the same week.
I think that's great, man. Fantastic. Hey, so guys, if you're watching, you have questions for Keith. Keith's got to get off at 9:45, so we got about, I don't know, what is that, 38 minutes until he leaves us, and then Josh and I are going to finish up the show. But if you have questions, you can ask those as we're going. You can ask about the tour. You can ask about, specific fishing. Keith don't mind to answer those. Keith, here's my question. You're from Louisiana. Lived in Alabama a long time. I think I read you played football at Troy, right? Is that right? So you're a football fan. So are you go Tigers, roll Tide, War Eagle? What's your allegiance there?
I just like seeing a good game.
Nah, that's
I'm gonna leave it at that.
That sounds like me and you though, John. We say the same thing. Like I'm a big Bengals fan, and I always want us to win, but I want it to be like this close because I just want to see a good game.
He's probably a Joe Burrow guy. Everybody's easy to like. He's easy to like.
I like it when he's the cigar.
There you go.
Burrow.
Yeah. He makes it look good right there. He's really good. But
you
know what? That is true though. We are we just say all the time, like, man, I just like watching the games. Like we have our favorite teams, but
my wife's a big diehard Auburn fan. She went to Auburn, blah blah blah. I want to throw up half the time, but it's like I don't care. Like I root for the underdog a lot of times, and especially when LSU's playing Alabama or whoever's expected to win, I go for the other. You know what I'm saying? So
makes it more fun.
I like to see a close game, a tough game when they only kicking field goals. That's kind of my game.
Yeah, there you go. We like those defensive games too. Go ahead, Josh.
Yeah.
So we got our first question in here from Keith Riggin, and we always have this
hot topic.
It's always a big question. So to you, how important is forward-facing sonar live scope?
That's a long subject, and we can spend the whole rest of the whole show on that. But the kind of simplified, forward-facing sonar is definitely an advantage, especially Garmin. I feel like I'm with Garmin. I'm with probably the best forward-facing sonar companies out there, and it's such a tool that, man, I was out on the water today. I'm down here in Florida on Harris Chain. I was catching fish that I could see, throwing a Berkeley stunner. And I can watch those fish come up and get that bait. And when to pause it, when to keep going. I mean, it really tells you a lot about what's going on. And of course, that's not really my deal. I'm a shallow water guy, but that live scope also gives you a clue, not necessarily always where the fish are. You can see fish, but structure. I can see those stumps out there. I can see the roll of that ditch or lay down. You're able to take a real live picture right there in front of you, in front of your foot pedal, and you can see what's going on out right in front of you. So yes, definitely it's a huge advantage to have that, and especially a Garmin live scope, in my opinion. Of course, I have not used any other competitors. I can't speak for them, but I definitely utilize it at times, and that's just and some guys fish with it exclusively. If they don't have live scope now, they cannot fish.
Yeah.
And that's their style and that's their game. And I respect that because I know what it can do. But I'm not like the best at it because, you know, I see stuff and I'm trying to key in on where a piece of structure is, but it's not my do or die thing. So, but yeah, it's definitely a part of my game plan when I go into a place.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
I've not used it a lot. I've been on some buddies' boats and used it a couple of times, but it's always a hot topic. Everybody wants to
every week
argue and talk about it. But for me, it's like when you're on, there's different, we were talking about this the other day, there's kind of like different tiers of fishing, you know? So like at that professional level, I feel like everybody's going to have it. So everybody's on an equal playing level.
Right.
When you're like those local clubs and like on Kentucky Lake, you fishing a USA Bass Tournament, and you've got one guy that really can't afford it, and you got one guy that's got everything.
Got all of them, yeah.
The guys that get mad, but
and I don't want to interrupt you, but man, that's another reason why I fish out of aluminum boat. And I've been wanting to do this for a long time, way before I started doing it a couple of years ago. And you know, I kind of took it to a new level. I respect John Cox, and he's a great fisherman, and he does a good job. And you know, but I kind of look up to that guy, and I respect him, and I seen what he was doing. And it gave me confidence to take that step. It's something that I was already wanting to do, but I've kind of taken it to a new level. You know, it's a really small boat. It's just not an aluminum boat. It's a small aluminum boat. Yeah. And of course, some of the things I do in my off the grid series, you go to YouTube and Keith Poche Off the Grid. You can watch some of my YouTube series that I do a lot of crazy shit, man. I mean, but I have fun with it. That's what it's all about. I'm having fun, and I don't care who you are or what you do. Man, you got to enjoy yourself. You got to go out there and have fun.
Oh yeah.
And I mean, why are we doing this? What are we living for? What are we here for? Like, have fun, enjoy what you're doing, and that's what I do, and that's why I do it my way. Because I've tried the old way. I've tried to listen and do this or fish another way and try to be something I'm not. But at the end of the day, you have to just settle down and say, hey, you know what? Fish your strength. Fish how you want to fish, because that's when you're going to be successful. When you're comfortable and you're confident, you're doing what you like to do. And now it hurts me sometimes. I mean, I'm fishing out of a little boat, and I qualified for the elites out of this 18-foot Gator Tracks with a 90 horse. Well, I decided to fish the elites out of this same size boat and the Bassmaster Classic. So you guys will see me on tour with an 18-foot aluminum boat. I mean, this thing's little.
I can't wait to see it, dude.
It's Coast Guard approved. Look, trust me, I've been protested, blah, blah, blah. This boat is legal. They done put me through the ringer. I mean, but what this thing does is it allows me to do me. It allows me to do what I've learned how to do. See, people don't realize that, you know, you can go buy that boat and you can go buy something similar, but you just can't go out there and do what I do, because this has taken years of learning what I can and can't do in a boat. You've got to learn how to hit a log, jump a log, or hit a sandbar deal. Like there's just no tricks and techniques. I mean, it's a technique to getting your boat into places that you can't normally get a big boat. And guys will figure it out. It's no different than throwing a deep diving crankbait or learning how to flip or something. It's a style of fishing that I've kind of materialized into to what I do.
That's your style.
And I've won tournaments out of it. It's insane, man. But you wouldn't believe the amount of fish that live back in these places.
I think it's awesome that you're fishing out of. Did you say it was 18.5 feet?
It's 18 foot 2 inches.
There you go.
So I fished Kentucky Lake quite a bit, and you know I was
place gets rough,
and everyone told me like, "Hey man, if you're gonna get into it, you need a 20, 21 footer to be out there fishing it." But then I hear, I mean, with the guy that's you said 14-year vet on tour, and he's fishing out of an 18-foot boat. It's kind of hard to argue with that. So, but would you ever say? I mean, I've been on Kentucky Lake, and it's only like, you know, a 10-mile-an-hour wind coming out of the north, and it's like
brutal.
4.5 foot waves, and we were good. But would you say like your boat, does it do pretty? Do you ever get pretty nervous in your 18-footer?
Well, I can't speak for any other aluminum boats,
right?
But but my experience with gator tracks and this goes for the big boat. They make a 20-foot strike series with a 250. Like when we go up north, the Great Lakes, I'm passing up guys like in fiberglass boats. Like they're the fiberglass are okay. So let me just kind of educate you on this, all right?
Please.
On boats. So these fiberglass boats are designed. They're flexing. Okay, they're designed to they have movement, and that's just the way they are. They're designed that way. And when they flex, they're jarring you. I mean, and that's why a lot of stuff breaks and stuff flies off, screws back out. That's why you have a lot of things that tear up because this boat is flexing so much. Well, you're not going to have that with a gator tracks. Okay, a strike series. Their hull is a 1/4-inch sticks. 3/16 inch thick. They're everything's welded solid.
Yeah.
So when you're hitting waves, you're pushing. That boat is not giving away, and you're pushing through those waves. I can't explain it, but the ride is unbelievable. And that goes with the little boat, the 18-foot. Now I'm gonna get wet. I'm just gonna tell you, I'm gonna get wet. But the ride is not bad at all. I've had a co-angler about every open last year, and they could not believe they were blown away with that little old boat and how it took the waves.
Yeah,
it's just unreal because they build them so solid that when you hit, there's not a lot of jarring and a lot of flexing. So it pushes through that wave and it cuts that wave, and it just goes on through, and it's solid.
Yeah, Keith, thanks for asking the question about forward-facing sonar, and I see there's some other questions there too, and we'll do our best to get to those. If we don't get to a question, then Josh and I will get back in the comments. We'll do our best to answer it. If it's specifically for Keith, we'll try to get to it. Keith, it's funny you mentioned John Cox because last week this same issue got brought up, and I said, I remember last year John Cox won first place, $100,000, and after the tournament, I don't remember where it was, but they asked him about live target, forward-facing sonar, whatever, whatever he's running. And I think what he said was, you know what, I still got that in the truck. He hadn't even put it on his boat yet. And so I think guys like you and him are more relatable to like just the average guy that's out there fishing, even though what you're doing is difficult. I mean, I saw where, I don't remember what tournament it was where you were fishing back in the channel and, some guys had kind of moved some rocks in on you and try to keep you from getting back in there, and you just jumped the rocks. And but I think you guys are at least relatable because you shallow water fishermen like a lot of weekend warriors like us.
Yeah, I mean, look, and my hat's off to the guys that use all this stuff and utilize and fish deep and all these different techniques, swim bait, blah, 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 and they side image. And I mean, look, do whatever you got to do. I'm not knocking the guy that has a 22-foot with a 250 and that can take on the biggest waves and run, or a nitro that has 60 gallons of gas that can run farther than anybody else. They have an advantage. That's an advantage, okay? So people complain about this or that, and it's always a little boat. You never hear any complaints about a big boat or this and that. They always pick on the little guy. But there's advantages and disadvantages in every part of the game. So if they want to make it fair, they need to have the same gas tanks. They need to have the same electronics. They need to have the same rod and reel. They need to have everything the same.
Right.
So don't come to me and tell me something about this or that, because I choose to do this because that's my style and that's where I want to go. If you want to do it, hey, the rules are available for you to do it yourself. So if you want to go talk to the league. Go talk to them about changing the rules or making it all fair across the board, because there's disadvantages and advantages in every part of the game. And what I do is I keep it simple, and I'm here for the good old boy. There you go. I cringe when I see a guy, especially a young guy, go spend all that money on a boat. I mean, it's just so outrageous these days. You can go and look, I run a gator tracks. I mean, that's what I do, and they're pricey. But I started out in a Duracraft, an 18-foot Duracraft, and I redone the whole boat. You go on my YouTube and watch how I redone this boat. and I built the thing myself, and I won tournaments out of it. And I made a lot of money out of it. But I'm creating an opportunity. You know what I'm saying? Like, everybody thinks you got to go spend all this money and do all this stuff, and I'm just like, man, it shouldn't be this way. Now,
Right.
if they want to give you that stuff, yeah, hey, give me a free boat, give me a free motor if you want me to run it. But you're going out there spending all your money, and you're paying all those entry fees, the fuel, the tackle, and all that. Dude, come on, man. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's so hard for young people to get involved. So I'm trying to let people know that you don't have to do all that to be competitive.
Right.
It's not about all about the equipment you got. It's about you. It's about right here, knowing where to go, how to catch them, what to do. And they get caught up. And I'm gonna tell you a story right quick. I don't know if you need to go somewhere else.
No, you
when
good.
When I first started fishing the weekend series back in 2004 or whatever. I mean, that's a long time ago. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I can't even hardly remember back then. And there was this guy I had met, fishing. We was fishing the regionals or whatever. I don't know. And we became friends, and we talked all the time. And I had a 18.5-foot Skeeter with a 175. Man, that boat would haul butt. It was a good little boat.
Yeah.
I said, man, his name was John. I said, John, I'm gonna go fish the Opens next year, man. I think I'm ready. I think I'm gonna go. He looked at me. He said, boy, are you crazy? He said, you better not show up for that little old 18-foot Skeeter. You better go get you a 21-foot boat.
Yeah.
I said, really? He said, man, yeah, they gonna laugh you off the tour. I said, why? I mean, what do you mean? He said, man, you can't show up no little old boat like that. Man, that was the biggest mistake. And I went and bought a bigger boat.
Did you? Oh, yeah.
That was the biggest mistake I ever did. But it's all about perception. It's all what people think or look. Yeah. Who gives a shit what you running? You know what I'm saying? Just go fishing, bro. If you got all the credentials on your boat and it's legal and all that, man, go fishing. Go sign up. Go. You want some fish? Go catch them, bro. I mean, it's all good.
Man, I can't tell you how many people reach out to us and ask about this product or whether it's hunting, tree stands, guns, bows, fishing. And I'm like, man, just use what you got. Like, there's, it's not going to help you kill more deer. It's not going to help you catch more fish. Use what you got. And then once you get to a point where you're mastering that, then yeah, sure, you can upgrade to maybe a more sensitive rod or maybe a little bigger boat or better electronics or whatever. But man, work with what you got. I totally agree with you. Thomas says no one complains about bass fishermen more than bass fishermen. I think that's probably
that's for sure. That's for sure. There's a lot of crybabies out there.
Yeah,
they don't want they don't want to put in the work. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Everybody's he's cheating. Let a guy start winning. Oh, he's cheating. He's cheating. I mean, that's all I hear about Jacob Wheeler. I like Jacob Wheeler. I respect the guy. I don't know. You can't cheat that much. You know what I'm saying?
It's
impossible.
I think he's
impossible.
Very good.
Impossible. Yeah.
So Ron here has a question, and Eric had a similar question. Said, Keith, can you walk us through a tournament preparation practice, putting together a 4-day game plan? And that may be more difficult for you this year with both tours going on. You might spend all your free time game planning, but just kind of give us what a typical week or with practice and preparation tournament looks like for you.
Yeah. So number one, before I go to a place, Google Earth is the number one thing that I look at.
Yeah.
You can, and I'll tell you guys, it's you if you got a laptop, you download. It's called Google Earth Pro, and it's got a tool on there that you can utilize, and you can go back in history. What a lake looked like years ago.
Yep.
A year ago, 2 years ago, 3 years. So what it does, it paints a picture of how the lake has changed and what it used to look like. And what I do is I try to look at places, especially backwaters. That's just what I like to do, way back in creeks or backwater ponds. But I try to find ones that hold water even when the lake is low. And what that means is that fish can withstand a drawdown, that they live in there. Okay, they have deep water in this pond, and when the lake's up, you can get your boat in there. Water's back and forth. But on a drawdown, if fish live in there, they're still able to survive because it has enough depth. If I see one that's dry, that's land, I don't fool with it. I don't really pay much time to it because fish are not going to live back there. They're not going to migrate. They're not going to stay back there because they're going to get caught on dry land, and they know that. So I've seen it. I've experienced it over the last years. I've went into places like that and I get a bite, and then I've noticed that when I see these places on a drawdown that still have water, that's where I get bit. And I mean, it's tried and true. But no, that's number one. Looking at Google Earth and understanding where you are in the country. You know, time of year. You know what the lake has to offer. You know, I mean, there's just so many variations of where we go. But
I've talked to. I bet we've talked to 15 or 20 different anglers over the past year, and over the past 3 years of doing this. And I swear, everyone we talk to says, and I feel like we overcomplicate it a lot of times because I bet everyone we talk to says Google Earth.
Google Earth, yeah.
Google
Earth.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Free.
Yeah.
And I think that's a great tip because you just taught me something because I use Google Earth for hunting and fishing. And I like the history tool where you can see, because I want to see what it looks like if I'm hunting. I want to see what it looks like when the trees are on and when the leaves are on and the leaves are off and what kind of features. But then when it's fishing and I'm scouting a lake like that, I'll find these ditches back in these arms and stuff, but I will see them when they're dry. And I will just assume, when the water's up, that's going to hold fish. I never thought about, hey, I need to find areas that holds water all year long. So can you just help me become a better fisherman? I appreciate that.
And I mean, the last open this past year, I found two places where in some creeks that held water year round on drawdowns.
Yeah.
And I was fishing around and the water was low, and I ran my boat across some mud flats to get back in there, but it showed water, and there were big ones in there. It was amazing. Like, I should have won that tournament. Like, I'm like, oh my gosh, I had it bad. I went the wrong place the first day. That's the first thing I did. But I kick myself in the butt sometimes. I'm so stubborn. But that I utilized that particular pattern on Sam Rayburn at the last event in the Opens, and I think, man, I had the second biggest bag in the tournament the second day, and just blew it the first day. But that was what I was looking for, because them lakes are up and down all the time,
right?
Yeah.
But I was looking for ponds that held water even on a drawdown.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Well, I tell you what, when Josh and I go fishing, I smoke him every time. I'm really going to now after I implement that new tactic. So thank you.
Keep dreaming, dude.
Well, Josh and I are brothers. I don't know if we told you that. So, we compete all the time.
Yeah.
Y'all brother?
We are.
I don't really look alike. I guess.
I got
you got some stuff.
He's a little uglier.
I got the looks.
So man, you talking about the Bass Opens, you were Angler of the Year last year, right? Mm-hmm. In the Opens, you won at Red River, which qualified. Well, I guess Angler of the Year would have qualified you for the Classic too, but you qualified.
No.
It doesn't?
You have to win one. Yeah.
Oh wow, I didn't know that. So
the Angler of the Year it's just the top three in the overall points gets the elite spot. So I double qualify.
So two different things. Makes sense. Okay, gotcha.
Yeah.
So you did qualify for the Classic though. So Tennessee River down there in Knoxville. I think last time it was there, Ott Defoe won. Wasn't that when he had he took a Sharpie and marked up his crankbait? Was that the one? Was that the tournament?
Like that. Yeah.
I don't know.
So anyway, when you that's what are your thoughts on that? I know you're a shallow water guy, finding these little arms and creeks to go into. How does the Tennessee River set up for you?
Yeah, I don't. I wouldn't say I like Fort Loudon. I mean, the first and last time I fished that place was the Classic. Of course, I went and looked around before cutoff, but I found them. I found them on Fort Loudon. I don't know if you know, the last day, I told Ott about the fish I had found, and he went and caught them the last day.
I didn't know that. Yeah.
Yeah, he was talking about it on live. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, he was going to the Porta John, and he stopped, and because I was all upset, I was getting ready to weigh in. He's like, "What's up, Poche? What's the matter?" I said, "Well, man, I got him, but I lost him. I just couldn't." And he said, what's the deal? And this and that. And I told him. And my be dog, the next day, final day, he went down there and he caught him right there.
Did he talk about that on stage with his family? Yeah, I remember him.
He talked about it. He talked about it that while he was fishing on live and that day.
Yeah.
On stage. Yeah. So I got some history there. I mean, I got some unfinished business to do on Fort Loudon, in my opinion. But no, I was happy for him. I wasn't going to make it. I was so happy to see him win. That what I told him,
great guy,
helped him get to that point. Yeah, and hey, I'm just hoping that it's going to be my time come around here in March.
What do you think? And I know there's no way of knowing this, but what do you feel comfortable an average daily bag limit to win that tournament?
I think it was 49, 50 pounds. I think that's what it took to win. So I mean, I would say, I mean, I don't know. I mean, 15, 16, it's probably still going to be pretty solid. I mean, somebody's going to catch a big bag. Of course, we're a week or two later. I mean, it could, depending on what the weather's doing. I mean, it could really load up. I mean, and Teleco could be an X factor too with the smallmouth. There's some big smallmouth over there. So, you never know. I mean, someone always finds
something. It was really cold, that Classic too, wasn't it? Wasn't it it was very cold.
Yeah, it was cold. Yeah, colder than I wanted to be.
I was looking.
You never know, man.
But of course, I'm fishing it out of my little boat. So I got a couple of places I found. The sneaky little spots. So hey, we'll see what happens.
Well, hopefully this year you'll be in it, and you just keep those secrets to yourself. Not help anyone else win.
Absolutely.
At least I gave you a shout out, though. I mean, he could have just said, "Hey, I found this in practice." But
hey, man, you come off that stage. I'd love to see you win it. We'll be the first ones off the stage to congratulate you. So
we were there.
I did buy me a steak. I mean, it was a pretty nice steak. Yeah,
nice.
Yeah,
not a bad consolation. We were there last year, man, and I was talking about this last week. That was the first time we've been to the Classic and doing our media thing and everything. And that, we've both been around sports our entire lives, grew up competing and everything. And being backstage, those last like 4 or 5 guys are weighing in was like the most tense atmosphere I've been in sports, because, people were talking like, Welcher's got a good bag, Christie's got a good, and you had guys coming back just absolutely exhausted, leaving it all out there. Guys watching the leaderboard, hoping they're finishing high, and it was just it was a great experience. And I can't wait to be down there this year, and hopefully that last day you're competing. That'd be nice.
Yeah, I definitely agree with that statement. My first Classic was in 2012 in Red River, and I led the first day.
Yeah.
And I ended up finishing third. Had to fish on to win the Classic that second day. I had a bad second day, but it just wasn't meant to be. But going into that third day and the emotions and the mental drain and the pressure and just, man, it's like being on the biggest stage of bass fishing. It's just it's something special, and I'm happy to be back doing it and be back at it. I mean, I don't care what you're fishing. The Bassmaster Classic is the biggest thing ever.
Yeah.
And,
the Super Bowl.
And they only remember first place. They don't care about second or third or whatever. So I want to claim my fame here next March, and I'm going to do everything in my power. And I'm going to fish my butt off, and I'm hoping it's my time, and that's all you can do. I mean, you can put the work in, you can do what you can do, but when it's your time, it's your time. So.
Yeah, and it's something that Josh and I just talked about this. No matter how good you are, you can't take it for granted. Kyle Welcher was ounces from winning last year. He didn't qualify. He's a great angler, but he's not going back this year on a fishery that he probably would do really well on.
Yeah.
And so, you can't take it for granted. And you're back. You finished third, and I think 36th the second time. Somewhere in there, maybe.
I don't even remember. I was disappointed.
And then, And so there you go. So you've been up there, you've been back trying to catch up. So this year, you've got the experience ready to go.
Scott Butler, he said, and I'm going to add on to this question too. He said, give Josh some
Poche pointers.
Some Poche pointers. He needs them.
That's a good little phrase for you, Keith.
I like that. Some Poche pointers.
A good segment you can do on your YouTube channel. Poche pointers.
Two people would ask. Somebody asked, what was your 3 top lures you like to throw? Someone said, what was your favorite? So give me a Poche pointer.
Pit balls.
What's your
pit
top
balls?
2?
Pit ball. Berkeley pit balls.
Berkeley.
I catch more fish on that dang gum bait than I look. I throw a 3/8 ounce weight.
This is my kind of guy, man.
20
pounds. I was gonna say that.
And look, it's always on the front deck. Okay. Green pumpkin, black and blue. I mean, it's just
what else you
it's
need?
automatic. The 3-inch too, only 3-inch. I don't throw the 4 or 5. I mean, I do a half. I mean, certain places, but the 3-inch small profile, dude, it catches fish. It catches big. 4-aught.
4-aught. And what size line and type of line are you using?
20 pound trilene.
Okay.
Yeah.
I love that. I assume you love flipping bushes.
Yeah, but I mean, I try to stay in that range, 3/8 ounce, 20 pound test line. I mean, it's just automatic, just boop, 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 going down the bank, scattered stuff. You got to up it a little bit when it's, it's a little thicker, 3/4 ounce, maybe a little some light braid, 450 pound braid. But I don't like to go too heavy unless I'm down here in Florida punching, thick stuff. But yeah, that's my deal. Little short pitches, little scattered lay downs, scattered grass, docks, different things like that. And I'm gonna tell you my second number one, and I've made some money on this dude too, is the Berkeley General.
I knew that was gonna be it. Yeah.
Hey, on a shaky head, a daggum shaky. Look, and I throw that thing on like 15 pound fluorocarbon. I mean, that's power fixing with 7.3 heavy rock.
Yeah, that is.
Rock. But what it is it's a finesse look with a power fishing application.
Yeah.
So it almost looks like an oversized Ned rig. That's kind of my explanation of what it looks like. And man, I tell you, I can't tell you how many fish I catch on. And the head's a 5/16 ounce head. It's a heavy deal. Like, but you can fish it shallow and deep. Like, I mean, you can skip it. I mean, you can fish it, dude, anywhere.
I'm glad you said the pit boss, because all the Berkeley guys we talked to, their first answer is always the General. I thought for sure that's what you're going to go to. I'm glad the pit boss was first. Mix it up.
I mean, I like the General, but the pit boss, dude, I've caught their butt on that, dude. I mean, I've caught them.
Well, you heard it here.
Look, let me tell you something. I mean, I can't hardly buy. I can't hardly get these things. I mean, everybody buying them up.
Yeah,
like, I can't even hardly get them.
Yeah,
it's crazy.
I know.
Anyway, go ahead.
Scott's the one who asked the question, and he said, "Yes, sir. Pit boss, love them. Green pumpkin, watermelon, black flake for him." So, he's a pit boss fan too.
There's your Poche pointer for
pointer of the day, right there.
Yeah, I like it. I started when I started fishing Kentucky Lake a few years ago. I've always loved fishing, but I grew up fishing small creeks for smallmouth with like flukes and
wade fishing.
Wade fishing. Finally got a small boat, kayak, started fishing, and then my buddy Jackson we had on last week started doing some partner tournaments with him up on Kentucky Lake, and he taught me how to flip bushes. And he'd kill me if I said it, but
that's all he talked about for 2 years. I'm just going to flip bushes. I got so sick of hearing that.
A 3/8 ounce weight with a Zoom Z crawl, and man, I fell in love with flipping bushes. After I caught one deep in a bush, just setting that hook, jacking them up out of a bush, I'm in love with flipping bushes.
That's fun. It's fun.
There's nothing like having a big bass on a short line.
I know.
I mean, it's a battle. Yeah. It's a battle because he's wide open, you wide open, and you ain't got much line out, and a lot of stuff can go wrong. So
yeah. Keith, I think when there's been so many times that I've been in a Bass Pro Academy somewhere that's selling fishing gear, and I've held a Fenwick rod. And I'm about all finesse fishing. So I don't like power fishing. I like finesse fishing. And I've held the Fenwick rod in my hand and love the way it felt. But we primarily use St. Croix. I've never bought one, but I've always been on the verge of it. So what do you love so much about Fenwick?
So Fenwick's been around for a long time.
Yeah.
And, you know, I honestly haven't, I never fished with Fenwick before. I've always fished for other stuff. And to be honest with you, I really couldn't afford it back in the day.
Yeah.
But, you know, well, that's before I made it pro. But, you know, I've always knew Fenwick as being a high-end product. And, you know, when Pure Fishing, you know, come to me last year and they wanted me to promote Fenwick, I was really, really excited about it.
Yeah.
So Fenwick is coming out with a lot of new products. You know, they're Bass Elite and the world class. You know, a rod. Everybody's got a rod, right? So what I look at is, you know, as far as strength and durability. I mean, you can. Everybody makes a light rod. So,
Right.
but me personally, the way I fish, I'm back in the bushes. I'm doing all this stuff. These rods are indestructible. They feel great. They have good components. They have good guides. I don't have to worry about a guide falling off. I don't have to worry about this or that.
Yeah.
They are just tough.
You can hold them and feel the quality.
Right. But and they're so light. So that's what I look for. I mean, when an average guy spends $100, $150 on a rod, he don't want to be shipping it back if it breaks or replacing guides and this and that. I mean, you want a rod, you want to be able to count on that rod when you pick it up that it's going to do what you got to do. It's going to get a fish in and not have to worry about breaking. So that's what Fenwick's a high-end product that's at a price point that an average guy can afford. So I love them. You know, this is my second year fishing them, and I couldn't be more excited to be a part of the team.
Absolutely, absolutely.
Yeah.
We got a couple minutes here before you got to go, Keith. What, as you're preparing for both tours here, and you know you're back and forth, you're struggling, you know, not struggling, that's the wrong word to use, but you're trying to balance it, you know, and schedule out everything. What are you going to do when you're not fishing? Like, you're going to have some time with your family, with other things you got going on. What's Keith Poche going to be doing when he's not in the gator tracks?
Man, I'll probably be filming some off the grids.
There you go.
Man,
so you're going to be in the gator tracks.
Man, that's all I do, Bubba. No, seriously. I mean, I will be filming some stuff, doing that, but man, I try to get home and spend time with them girls. I got two young girls, and
I do too.
They need me there.
Yep.
And they're cheerleading and doing this, doing that. I mean, I try to make as much as I can because, man, they're growing fast, and you know, I miss a lot. 13 and 8. 13 and 8.
Mine's 9 and 7. 9 and 7. So yeah.
Speaking of cheerleading, we got a little sister actually. Probably just got to Florida.
Oh yeah, she's cheering in Florida for national championship this weekend.
My 13-year-old just got here too, like today.
Oh, cool. Yeah, that's a big deal.
Orlando, yep.
She's gonna beat you. She's gonna beat you.
It's different.
They're the best.
Different divisions. She's a junior in high school, so.
Okay.
But you know what? She probably would, because
that's true.
No, I'm just joking. Well, Keith, man, we really appreciate you, brother. And I mean, it was short notice you coming on, so we are so thankful for your time and that you took the time to be with us. And after you go to Knoxville, win the Classic, we'll have you back on. How's that sound?
Sounds good. I'll be happy to come on and talk with you guys again. Tell you all about it.
Hey, real quick, tell people where they can find you to follow you online and check out your YouTube channel Off the Grid, or your series, I guess, Off the Grid.
Yeah, so I mean, I got a channel. It's Keith Poche. You just find that. I mean, use all my off the grid stuff, or you can probably just search Keith Poche Off the Grid.
Yeah.
I mean, so find me on social media, Keith Poche. Just search Keith Poche. You can't go wrong.
There you go. There aren't many Keith Poches, I guess.
And I'm looking forward. I'm looking forward to over the next few weeks seeing a couple videos of those Poche pointers, for sure.
Yeah.
No, I will. Now, what I'll do is I will put all your links in the comments and pin those so people can find it easily. And so, guys, if you're watching, thanks for joining us. And you know, as you're watching Bass Fish this year, make sure to check Keith out. Show him some love on social media, YouTube, and whatnot. So, Keith, best of luck, man. We really appreciate you. You have a good tournament next week.
Yes, sir. Thank y'all. I really enjoyed it. Appreciate your time. Thanks for having me on.
Absolutely.
Appreciate you.
Anytime, man. Have a good
All
one.
right. Yes, sir.
See ya. All right. That was Keith Poche. Man, what a great guy.
He is, man.
You know, I
Excellent,
love the
excellent guy.
Louisiana twang. You
Yeah.
know, we got the Appalachian
I tell
hillbilly
you what I
twang.
liked
He's got
was the fact he said the same thing we do about football. We just want to see a good game.
Yeah.
We just want to see a good game.
I just want to see a 9-6 defensive battle slobber knocker.
Now, if we had Mike on here, Mike would be saying the
Mike, I don't think Mike's watching.
I know.
Mike Collins, are you watching tonight? You've not commented at all.
Yeah.
Scott said he's telling his secret finesse worm, you won't find them around here because I buy them all. Talking about the Berkeley General. Hey, listen, everyone talks about the Berkeley General.
They do.
And you know what? It's more affordable than the Yamamoto. So
Hank Cherry told me last year in a podcast, he said that if you're fishing on one of them northern fisheries, like what is it, Champlain,
St. Lawrence,
he said if you're not fishing with a Berkeley, was it a General? I think he told me, or a Berkeley, like the power bait.
Yeah,
you're
the
probably
Max Sense stuff.
You're not going to be up there in the top if it's not that Max Sense stuff.
Thomas said, "Great guess." I agree. That was their first pro. Like, I mean, not taking away from Jackson. Jackson's a great fisherman, but that's like our first elite pro we've had on this show because only our second one. I can't think of a better start.
That was great.
Well, he was fantastic.
He was, man.
And he's just a and a lot of these guys that you meet, you know, even Gerald Swindle, when you talk to him, he's just a normal dude.
And honestly, man, just because Keith was our first guest and was such a good guy, I hope he wins the Classic this year. I hope he does.
Yeah, but our next guy's we're gonna feel that way about all of them, unless they come in here and they're a jerk. But rest assured, if they're a jerk, I'm gonna say, hey, you know what? I don't really like your attitude right now.
I don't think you're gonna say that.
I just say that to Josh.
I don't.
So let's see. Scott says I'd quit fishing if I only had Guggen baits. Yeah, I'm not a big Guggen guy either.
Me either. I tried their John first got into fishing, and he really loves the Ned rig. And I started fishing the Ned rig in the rivers. I started using it a lot because I mean it's great for smallmouth fishing. And I bought a pack of the Guggen
Ned Rattlers.
The Rattlers, and I hated them.
They fell apart.
Things. Yeah, they were awful. I mean, I'm sorry, Guggen. I'm not trying to be mean. You got some good stuff. I like those big 10-inch worms y'all make.
You're overpriced, Guggen.
But yeah, I'm not a big Guggen guy. I'm really not.
Yeah. So we are losing viewers because Keith Poche was the draw. We didn't have as many as I want. So listen, guys, we are trying to grow this. Second week, second show only. We had the only pro angler fishing for Bassmaster and MLF at the top level this year, but we're going to have more. We already talked to Jay Shakurit, who was Rookie of the Year last year. He was going to try to come on. He couldn't work it out with his schedule because he's fishing. He's practicing right now in Florida. I knew Keith was an Alabama guy. I saw a post on his Facebook page where he was still at home. And so I texted him and I said, hey, this is what we're doing. Would you like to come on? He said, send me your link to your page. He wanted to check us out first. He's like,
I don't blame him.
No, I loved it. I loved it because I knew when he went to our page, he was going to see it's all out. It's no nonsense. We're not trying to catch him anything. It's just fishing and hunting and trapping and shooting and whatever and acting crazy. But
two comments here I like. One, Scott Butler said we should have a bass tourney. Scott,
absolutely.
I've been talking about that for a while.
If you want to finish second, Scott,
second to me, that is not John. But
well, anyways, I thought we were a team, jerk. Partners.
Sure.
Never mind, Scott. Me and you'll get in the boat and we'll win first.
Scott, I agree, man. We've been talking about it for a long time. It's just hard to get it all together. If you have an idea and you want to do it, hit me up, dude, and we'll start working it. And then that was the next comment I was going to pull up.
I don't know about those northern Kentucky lakes, though. They're tough, Scott. Maybe we'll have to go to maybe Lake Cumberland. Bub said he worked in South Louisiana. Cajuns and Eastern Kentucky folks are all the same.
Wish they teach you how to make a good gumbo.
Whether it's the bayou or the mountains.
And I'd love to have some crawfish. I love some
crawfish. You should ask him about it.
I love
I can't wait to meet him in person.
Oh, me too.
Yeah,
Here's
it'll be fun.
Though, is I guarantee you think he'll remember us when he first sees us?
Yeah, because I'll text him before and say, hey, we're going to be down there. And so when we cover the Classic, and look, it's just in Knoxville. And if you can make it down there for just one day, I would encourage you to wake up at 5:30, go to the boat launch, go to the expo during the day, go back to the weigh-in. It is all absolutely fantastic. Just a lot of
Ryan
fun.
McCarthy and I will make the trek down for an EOM tournament.
All right.
There's 5
Well,
right there.
there's a new favorite, folks. There's a new favorite to win. But if you can make it down to the Classic, it will be worth your trip, worth your time, worth the money you'll have to spend. It's a lot of fun. And I can't wait to go just to talk to these guys. We get to, the day before the Classic starts, Josh and I get to choose, we get to request 10 different anglers to interview for 10 minutes. And we've been going back and forth, like, who do we want to choose? Who are the 10? Definitely that guy's in the 10.
Yeah.
That guy's definitely in the 10.
Yeah.
So there we go. We need 9 more. But Eric, we appreciate you.
Good show tonight, boys. Hey, I also want to mention, if you're watching and, you want to continue to see this thing go, I mean, we literally have a contact list of everyone that we can get on the show that everybody wants to hear from. So make sure you're sharing this video on your pages and groups, whatever, so we can keep this thing going, man, because I love bass fishing. That's like John said earlier, that's like my first love in the outdoors is fishing. I absolutely love bass fishing. So share it with your friends, let your buddies know, tell them to come watch on Thursday nights. It's going to be every night, 9 p.m. to 10 p.m. Eastern time.
Joe Carter asked, and I didn't get to ask Keith this. I was trying to ask the questions that were specifically about like tournament fishing or whatnot, or maybe like his boat or whatever. But Joe asked, is Jordan Lee the next big thing in bass fishing? I think he's a top 5 in the world. I think you have to have Jacob Wheeler 1. Then after that, I don't know, but I think Jordan Lee is a top 5 fisherman in the world. What do you think?
I think Jordan Lee, my opinion, and I was going to answer this earlier, but I was going to wait until the last 15 minutes. I think Jordan Lee is already a big thing in fishing. He's a back-to-back Classic winner.
Thanks, Ryan.
Not too long ago. So, I mean, Jordan Lee he is at the top tier of professional fishermen. I mean, he's up there with Jacob Wheeler and Ott Defoe. I mean, Jacob Wheeler's kind of on his own level
at this point. Yeah,
he really is, because he consistently is always fishing for first place. It never fails. On Championship Sunday, he is always fishing.
Well, I think last year, Jacob Wheeler and Dustin Connell kind of led the way. I think that Connell won 1 or 2 tournaments. They both won a lot of money last year.
I tell you,
thanks, Brown. We appreciate it.
I tell you another guy I really like that we met last year at the Classic, and he won his first tournament on the Elite Series last year, was Brian New.
Yeah, good guy, good Christian guy. He,
easy going,
so nice.
Yeah.
So
that's what I love. Most of the dudes are awesome. They're easy to talk to. They're just country boys like us. And then you'll have some guys like what's that dude from California? Tawny likes him. He fishes with robo worms all the time.
Jared?
No, I gotta look it up.
Not Spore, is it?
Hold on.
Brent Ehler.
Yep, that's it.
Brent Ehler. So Jeff asked me who would be my top 2 to interview. The best 2 interviews, Jeff, it's not even close. It's Gerald Swindle and Matt Robertson.
Yeah.
Those are the best 2 interviews. I'm not saying they're the best anglers, but those guys, they're funny. They're loud. I mean, Matt Robertson's a Kentucky boy who has a Bassmaster tattoo on his shoulder, and he's always wearing no sleeves.
Robo worms are good, Scott.
They are. They're expensive.
I love
robo worm. Here's the thing about robo worms.
Drop shotting with them.
Very good, but a little overpriced and not as durable as I'd like.
Well,
so anyway,
I think the reason, here's my thing, is with that, every bait is not durable unless it is a Z-Man package. And that's what you're used to. You're used to that Elastec where one Ned rig, soft plastic, lasts you like 40 trips.
No, I'm because I use Zoom more than I use Z-Man anymore. But
that's true. You use Zoom a lot.
Zoom is much more durable than robo worms. But robo worms may be a better quality bait. I don't know how it's made, but I mean, Zoom is like $250 a pack. It's probably went up now, but Ryan says rednecks always make the best interviews. G-Man and beer chugging Matt Robertson. I agree.
I want to get, so you said Matt Robertson. I want to get Matt Robertson with Seth Fighter.
Seth Fighter.
At the same time.
But he's not really a talker.
No, but if you get them together, dude, they just give each other hell like we do all the time.
I want him while Seth Fighter has a big cigarette in his mouth.
And Matt's chugging a beer.
There you go. I mean, look, it's two rednecks talking to two rednecks. Now I'm not a smoker, but I like being around guys that I like being around guys that I feel like are from my hometown. Now Seth Fighter's a northerner though. He's like a Minnesotan.
Hey, the funny thing is Matt's actually was born. Where was he? Somebody was telling us
in California.
He was born in California. And they grew up in Central City.
Yeah, that's funny. I tell you two other guys, not to interrupt you, Josh. I tell you two other guys that I really want to get on are the Johnston brothers, the Canadians, Corey and Chris Johnston.
Oh, yeah.
Bro, they can flat out fish.
Yeah, they can.
And we need a brother on. We need the Johnston brothers, the Lee brothers, and me and you in a 3-team tournament. They'll battle for first. We'll finish last. We'll have a blast.
Well, actually, what it'll do is they'll battle for first, and we'll be battling for first in our boat.
Yeah, there you go. There you go. Every state has some good hidden rednecks. I agree.
You're right. They do. They
we
really
usually pull it out. You know, that's the guys. Oh, W.O. Hey, guys. Hey, I almost missed it. W.O., I've been waiting on you. I didn't think you were here. And so Keith had to get off the show at 9:45. So I was going to do this at the beginning of the show, but I wanted to jump right into talking to Keith, and I didn't see W.O. here. But last week, W.O. sent me a picture of a bag he caught on Kentucky Lake, and I forgot to share it. I either forgot or I didn't see it till after. I don't remember. But I'm going to pull that up now because it was a heck of a bag.
While you're pulling that up, W.O., if it was on Kentucky Lake, just send me an invite in the spring because I'm very close to Kentucky Lake. And you can show me how to catch those things.
Yeah, because he doesn't know how.
Yeah, he's full of crap. That way, I guess.
Let's see. Hold on. Let's see here. W.O., you know, we posted that photo of those guys holding that 5-bag fish of like 40-some pounds or whatever the other day.
Yeah.
There's a woman on there like, that's fake. Those guys can't hold those fish like that. And I said, you don't think a grown man can hold 20 pounds in one hand? Come on. And so
you let me know when, W.O. I'm down.
There's W.O. He said that was a few years back, but look at those big fat mamas. Oh,
that's what I'm talking about.
Look at those big fat mamas right there, man.
Big fish. Yeah, you got to take me out and show me where those things are on Kentucky Lake, W.O. You tell me when and we'll go. Nathan,
I'm guessing that was probably late March, early April. Am I right on that, W.O.? Do you remember?
That looks about right.
It says March 9th, 2013. That was almost 10 years ago.
That's I'm not taking anything away from W.O. Kentucky Lake was definitely a different fishery back then. But hey, W.O. still might know where they're at. So,
oh yeah.
Nathan Russell said you guys doing a show on Thursday now too. Yes, we are. We're doing Bass Fishing Live. John forgot to put the thing up here in the top right corner. Our Tuesday shows is going to be more towards hunting, deer hunting, turkey hunting,
trapping
stuff we do. And then
squirrels,
Thursday is going to be
small game,
strictly bass fishing. We'll probably throw in some cat fishing here and there, but it's mainly going to be bass fishing.
And this show's mostly going to be just me and Josh with a guest because we're the bass fishermen out of the four of us. The other show, you probably won't see as much of Josh on there just because, it's a lot in a week. But Mike and John Allen's, he's in the Army too. His schedule is not as fluid, but Mike will be on there. Just trying to mix it up, trying to grow the page. We just passed 62,000 followers. Our goal is to get to 100,000 by the end of the year. We're going to do it. Our goal was 50,000 last year, and we got to 61. Yeah. We're going to get to 100, but it's because of you guys. It's not,
all because of you. We owe all the thanks to you guys.
Also, Nathan, Josh has been talking. He's like, man, I've heard you talk about Green River bourbon so much. I've got to buy some. And I said, yeah, Nathan Russell. He's the reason.
Is he the one that works there?
Nathan is, yeah.
Nathan, let me ask you, this is way off the topic of fishing, but hey, so I've looked at Green River bourbon, and the only thing I can find is like a just a regular Green River. I don't know if it's a small batch or just, do they only make one bourbon? Do they make single barrels? Do they make cask strengths? Do they make anything like that at all?
Hey, if you have any bourbon questions, are you friends with Nathan? If not, friend him on Facebook. Any bourbon question he can answer. He's a bourbon connoisseur. Jacob Nance is late to the party. Jacob, better late than never. Thank you.
I was going to say too. I've seen several people say they were late. A great thing about it, it's recorded. You can go back and watch it all.
It'll be on here forever.
And we will come in and comment back to you and answer your questions.
Scott says leave Mike Collins and his cane po alone. Oh, the first time I read that, I thought it said at home, but it said alone. Oh, Nathan has moved on because Green River sold to Bardstown. Sorry, Nathan. I thought you're still there.
I got you. Bardstown's buying everybody, man.
Yeah, I wish they'd buy this show. Trinity Shepherd said, or not Trinity Shepherd, Bub said Trinity Shepherd's TLC Dog Days of Winter sign in February 17th, trap and hunting predator competition in Prestonsburg. I would love to participate. I'm just not driving to Prestonsburg. And we'll be in Nashville that weekend at NWTF, which is another thing. A lot of guys that fish also turkey hunt. So if you're coming to NWTF next week, holler at us, shoot us a text. Heck, you can find my number. Just go to my personal page. I got all my real estate stuff on there. I get random texts all the time now from people that got my number on Facebook. But, yeah, man, we're doing this bass fishing show. I guarantee you 1 year from now, it's going to be a big show.
And we're still going to be doing it.
We're not stopping.
This is not stopping. So
because we're going to focus.
It's going to keep going, man.
We're going to focus on the biggest bass fishermen in the world. We're going to create relationships with those guys, and we're already starting it. I've already talked to some friends of mine who are going to come on, who have some friends that are on the Bass Pro Tour or the Elite Series, whatever.
If you have people that fish BFLs, if they fish, that lower echelon of tournament fishing, let us know who they are. We would love to have them on the show. Like Jackson last week, I fished with Jackson for 2 or 3 years. He's an excellent fisherman. He works up at Team Marine in La Crosse, Wisconsin, and he is fishing at the BFL level right now, trying to make his way up. So we love talking to those guys too. It ain't just
local guys.
Love talking to those guys.
Yeah, we're going to, I've talked to Matthew Mattingly, who does the same thing. He fishes he's fishing against Keith Poche in these open events. Yeah. And I'm going to get in the boat with him at least one time this year and record some content. He's a great fisherman. He's a great deer hunter. Nathan said, not bass fishing related, but you guys going to NWTF. Nathan, we will be there next Thursday, Friday, and Saturday. Yep. We're going to be talking to a lot of different vendors and networking, but we also want to meet anyone who follows this page. So you see the shirt? Well, no. I don't know. I had my hoodie on. I had the other hoodie. Oh, I throw it in the washer because I've worn it a lot. I just throw it on when it's cold out. But the shirt that Josh is wearing, we'll be wearing one that says Eastern Outdoors. It'll be black and white. And,
the old one.
Yeah, that's the old one. But anyway, yeah, we'd love to meet you guys. Nathan, holler at us. Let us know when you're there. So, all right, guys, it's 10:04. We're going to hop off here. We will be back on Tuesday.
Oh, yeah.
If you're trapping, I know Bub likes to trap. Some of you like to trap. We're still doing our trapping contest. And the whole bass fishing tournament thing is definitely a good possibility this spring. Those are things we're trying to do. So, yeah, stay tuned for that. Next week, I have no idea who's coming on, but it'll be someone. Tune in. Tell your friends about it. Be here next Thursday at 9 p.m. Eastern. And I got to throw this in for Josh, 8 p.m. Central. If I don't add that in there, he has a hard time subtracting an hour from Eastern time, and sometimes he's late. So 9 p.m. Eastern for Josh, it's 8 p.m. Central. So thank you, guys. Big shout out to Keith. Check him out. Keith Poche on Facebook, Keith Poche Fishing on YouTube. He has a great series, Off the Grid, where he's taking that little aluminum boat. He's jumping rocks and sandbars, and he's getting back in inches of water and catching big fish. It's really cool. And check that out. Subscribe to him. Show him some love. Shoot him a message. Tell him you enjoyed him on the show. That helps us out too. So y'all have a good night. We'll see you next week. And if you're going to NWTF, holler at us.